On this island, the sea carries more than just the tides. It carries secrets. Some float gently to shore, easy to forget. But others sink deep, waiting to be uncovered. And no one knows that better than Mack Johnson. To the rest of the island, Mack is the man every fisherman wants to be. Hard-working, respected, a family man. But behind closed doors, Mack ain't just fishing out there on the water. He's got a secret, one he thinks is buried beneath the waves. Lorraine, Mack's wife, the heart of the family. The kind of woman who can build a business with her bare hands and still have a hot meal on the table every night. She trusts Mack, loves him. But love, on an island like this, can sometimes be blind. But not everybody is blind, and not everybody stays quiet. An island has eyes, and whispers travel faster than the wind. Celeste, a woman wrapped in mystery and danger. The kind of trouble men can't help but walk toward, even when they know better. And just like that, the lie continues. A woman always knows, even before she's ready to admit it. And Miss Rena? Well, she already sees the storm coming. It's only a matter of time before the tide washes the truth ashore. Mack Johnson thinks he's got everything under control. But on this island, no secret stays buried forever. In an island town like this, life moves with the tides, steady, predictable. But once the waves start to shift, ain't no stopping what's coming. Or in Mack's case, someone. His wife, the woman who knows every inch of him, every habit, every lie. And today, something don't feel right. She watches him carefully. She sees what no one else does, the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands twitch just slightly. Mornin', baby. Smooth. Easy. But easy don't fool Lorraine. You sleep well last night? A simple question. But the way Mack hesitates? That's her answer. And across the island, Celeste already knows how this day will go. She's been here before. Men like Mack always think they're in control, until they ain't. Now, this island, it's got 3 things you can always count on. Fresh fish, strong rum, and gossip that spreads faster than wildfire. You see Mack this morning? Looking real uneasy, like somebody breathing down his neck. Miss Rena ain't the type to speak on things she don't know for sure. But trust me, she knows. And she knows one thing for certain. Secrets don't stay buried in the sand for long. And just like that, he slips into the night. Another stolen moment. Another risk. Because men like Mack, they always come back. But what he don't know, he ain't as slick as he thinks he is. A woman always knows. And this woman, she's done pretending she don't. The island sleeps beneath a silver moon. The ocean whispers against the shore, a soft lullaby of waves. But inside Lorraine's house, there is no peace. Only silence. Heavy. Waiting. They say a woman's intuition is like the tide. You don't always see it moving, but you feel the shift. And tonight, Lorraine Johnson feels it deep in her bones. Lorraine is sitting at the kitchen table. The dim light flickers, casting shadows across her face. Her fingers tap against the wood, steady, calculating. Her husband's side of the bed? Empty. Again. His excuses? Growing thinner by the day. And now, Lorraine is done asking questions. Tonight, she's getting answers. Mack's empty boat slip at the dock. The water is still. But the absence of his boat? That says more than words ever could. She ain't about to sit back and wait for the truth to find her. No, baby. She's going looking for it herself. The village street, dimly lit by the flickering glow of a street lamp. Miss Rena sits on her porch, fanning herself, watching. She sees Lorraine walking, her steps slow, purposeful. Miss Rena don't miss nothing. And when she sees Lorraine out this late, oh, she knows something bout to go down. That's the thing about an island. You can try to sneak, but baby, somebody always watching. In the hidden cove, the moonlight glows on the waves, casting silver shadows across the rocks. And there, tucked beneath the trees, Celeste's house stands still. Celeste don't wonder if Mack will show up. She knows he will. He always does. Careful now, Mack. You think the night hides your sins? But shadows got eyes too. Lorraine is hidden in the trees just beyond Celeste's house. She sees everything. The way Mack leans in when Celeste opens the door. The way Celeste touches his chest, laughing softly. The way Mack disappears inside. There it is. The truth. Ugly. Unforgivable. And right in front her eyes. All right, Mack. You wanna play in the dark? Let's see how you handle the light. She turns. Walks away. But she's not going home. No. She's got a different plan. The morning after, the storm brews. As the sunrise, the sky is pink and gold, too pretty for the kind of trouble it's about to witness. Mack stepping off his boat, rolling his shoulders like a man with no worries. He whistles to himself as he walks toward his house. Oh Mack, you have no idea what's waiting for you. He steps onto the porch, pushing the door open, expecting the usual. But the first thing he sees? Lorraine, sitting at the kitchen table, waiting. The way she stirs her coffee, too slow, too controlled. Mack stops. His smile falters. That's right. Sit down, Mack. This conversation, it ain't gonna be easy. The morning sun rises slow, stretching golden fingers across the island. The breeze is calm, the waves gentle. But inside Mack's house, a storm is waiting. A man like Mack Johnson can fool the island, fool his friends, even fool himself. But there's one person he can't fool, his wife. As Mack, stepping into the kitchen, he freezes. Lorraine sits at the table, back straight, hands wrapped around a steaming cup of coffee. Her expression, cold, unreadable, deadly. Oh, he wasn't expecting this. Mack clears his throat, tries to play it off. He pulls out a chair, but before he can sit, rough night. Lorraine's voice cuts through the quiet like a blade. Mack hesitates, just for a second, but Lorraine sees it. She always sees it. Yeah, something like that, he says. But his voice ain't steady no more. And Lorraine, she's just getting started. She leans forward, setting her cup down, eyes locking on his. Funny thing though, she says, tilting her head. Somebody told me they saw your boat near Celeste's house last night. Mack's breath catches. Just a flicker. Just a second. But Lorraine catches it. You got something to tell me, Mack? A heavy silence. The walls seem to shrink. Mack shifts in his seat, but he ain't got nowhere to run. Go ahead, Mack. Try to lie. Let's see how far you get. Mack shakes his head, forcing a laugh. Too loud, too forced. Celeste. What? Nah, baby, you know how people like to talk. Lorraine doesn't blink, doesn't move, just waits. And that silence makes Mack sweat. Ah, there it is. That moment when a man realizes he's been caught. When he knows nothing he says will dig him out of this hole. She leans back, arms crossed. And then, she drops the bomb. I saw you, Mack. Mack's mouth opens, closes. His fingers twitch. His heartbeat pounds in his ears. Boom. Mack stammers, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. Baby, I can explain. But Lorraine raises a hand. And when she speaks, her voice is calm. Too calm. She exhales slow, shaking her head. You lied to me, Mack. Lied to our family. And now, Now I gotta decide what to do with you. The weight of her words settle over the room like thick fog. Mack swallows hard, sweat beading at his temple. He opens his mouth again. Don't. One word. One warning. And Mack. He finally shuts up. Lorraine stands. She walks to the door, slow and steady. But before she leaves, "You might want to check our bank account, Mack," she says over her shoulder. "Consider it a little advance payment for all the years you wasted my time." She steps out into the sun, slams the door behind her. "Oh, Mack, you didn't just lose your woman. You lost everything." Mack rushing to his phone. He opens his banking app. His eyes widen. His jaw tightens. Bank balance. $0. Game over. Mack. Game over. The midday sun beats down on the island, hot and unforgiving. Waves roll lazily onto the shore, but for Mack Johnson, nothing feels steady anymore. His world, it's shaking, cracking, and about to crumble. Yesterday, Mack thought he had it all under control. A wife who cooked his meals, a mistress who whispered his name, and an island full of people who thought he was untouchable. But today, he's not in control of nothing. Mack sat at the table with trembling fingers gripping his phone. His eyes scan the banking app again, as if the numbers might change. They don't. 0. Empty. Cleared out. He swipes. Checks again. Still nothing. A low curse slips from his lips, his breath shaky. Lorraine wasn't just mad, baby. She was prepared. Mack's pulse pounds in his ears. He grips the edge of the table, his mind racing. Then bang. The front door swings open, slamming against the wall. His eldest son, Jared, storms in, face tight with fury. And just when Mack thought this day couldn't get worse, it does. Jared steps forward, fists clenched. He's big like his father, but there's fire in his eyes. The kind of fire that don't go out easy. Jared grew up thinking his father was a man to respect, a man to look up to. But now, all he sees is a liar. Mack opens his mouth to speak, but Jared cuts him off, his voice sharp, slicing through the thick island air. "Tell me it's not true, Daddy. Tell me you are not running round behind Mama's back like some damn fool." Mack exhales, rubbing his face, trying to steady himself. "Son, listen, it's not that simple." But Jared is not hearing it. He slams a fist against the table, rattling the empty coffee cups still sitting there from Lorraine's last conversation. "You broke this family, Daddy. You broke Mama's heart. And for what? Some woman on the other side of the island." The words hit Mack harder than any punch ever could. And for the first time, he didn't have an answer. At the market, the usual hustle and bustle is drowned out by hushed voices. Women stand in groups, whispering. Men shake their heads, muttering. Oh, it's not just his family turning on him. The whole island knows now. And when an island knows, it doesn't forget. Miss Rena stands in the center of it all, arms crossed, lips pursed. Man had a whole queen at home, and he is out here chasing shadows. And you hear what Lorraine did? Cleared everything. Left that man dry. A round of low laughter ripples through the crowd. Miss Rena sips her tea, smirking. Mack Johnson? He didn't just lose his money. He lost his respect. Now Mack, walking quickly down a quiet path toward Celeste's house. His face is tight, jaw locked. With nowhere else to go, Mack does the only thing a drowning man can. He swims to the closest shore. He pounds on Celeste's door. No answer. He knocks again, harder. Finally, the door swings open. Celeste stands there in a silk robe, arms crossed, brow raised. She was waiting for him, but not for the reason he thinks. Mack steps inside, voice desperate. "I need your help, baby. Lorraine, she took everything. I just need a little time to figure things out." Celeste leans against the counter, swirling a glass of wine, watching him, studying him. She wasn't worried. She wasn't nervous. That should have been his first clue. A slow smirk spreads across her lips. Then she speaks. Mack. Who said I was your woman? Mack blinks. His body tenses. His breath catches in his throat. Oh no. He didn't see this coming. Celeste takes a slow sip of wine, then tilts her head. You thought I was just some little secret on the side? Just waiting for you to choose me. She chuckles, sets her glass down. No, baby. I was playing you. Mack takes a step back, his stomach twisting. And just like that, the last piece of his world shatters. The island air is thick tonight. The palm trees barely sway. The waves roll in slow, whispering secrets only the wind can carry. But inside Celeste's house, there's no whispering, only silence. Cold, heavy, waiting. Mack Johnson spent his whole life thinking he was the one pulling the strings. Thought he was the one playing the game. But tonight, he learns the truth. Mack is standing in Celeste's living room, hands clenched into fists. His heart pounds in his chest. He looks at her like he's seeing her for the first time. He was not expecting this. Celeste leans against the counter, arms folded. Her silk robe drapes off one shoulder, but she doesn't try to seduce him. No, tonight she don't need charm. She has something better. The truth. I was never yours, Mack, she says, voice smooth as the sea at dawn. And you were never mine. You were just a means to an end. Mack's face twists. He shakes his head, stepping forward. Max is confused. What the hell are you talking about, Celeste? Celeste tilts her head, watching him, enjoying the unraveling. Then, she moves to a drawer, pulls out a single photograph, and slides it across the counter. Mack looks down. His breath catches. His hands tremble. The photo is old. Too old. But the faces in it, familiar. One of them is Celeste. The other, his father. This shit just got deep. Mack stares at the photo, his mind racing. His father, Clarence Johnson, standing beside a woman who looks just like Celeste, but younger, holding her hand, smiling. Celeste watches the recognition hit, watches his body go stiff. And then, she speaks again. Your daddy ruined my mother's life, Mack. Used her, threw her away, left her with nothing but broken promises and a child to raise on her own. She lifts her chin, eyes flashing. Sharp, deliberate. That child was me. Mack stumbles back like he's been slapped. His breath comes short. His mind spins. As his world collapses. Now the picture's clear. Celeste is not just some woman who fell for him. No way. This was revenge. Celeste steps forward, closing the space between them. See, I didn't just want you, Mack. I wanted to take everything from you. The way your father took everything from us. She leans in, voice barely a whisper now. Whispered, like a dagger to the heart. And guess what, baby? I did. Mack stumbles back, his pulse roaring in his ears. His father's sins just came crashing down on him, drowning him like the tide. His whole life, he thought he was the one in control, thought he was making the rules. But now, he is nothing but a pawn, in a game he didn't even know he was playing. His hands shake, his chest tightens. He looks up at Celeste, searching for something, regret, mercy, anything. But all he finds is cold satisfaction. A chilling final blow. Because Celeste wasn't sorry. Mack exhales, long and slow. He grips the edge of the counter, steadying himself. You set me up. This whole damn time. Celeste smirks, tilting her head. And you made it real easy, baby. Mack stares at her. His blood turns to fire. His body tenses. His whole damn life was a lie. And Celeste. She's standing here, cool as a sea breeze, like it don't even matter. He takes a slow step forward. "You used me," he growls. Celeste doesn't flinch. Instead, she shrugs, running a finger down the rim of her wine glass. "And you used her," she says. "Lorraine. Your kids. You think you are better than me? You are not. You're just mad you lost." Something inside Mack snaps. His jaw clenches. His fists tighten. Whispered, like a storm about to break. "This is not good." Mack grabs Celeste's wrist, way too hard. Her eyes flash with warning, but he didn't care. His world is burning, and she's the one who lit the match. "I already did." Then, crack. Celeste yanks her hand back, slapping Mack across the face. Hard, sharp, final. He stumbles, stunned. Not just by the hit, but by everything. By the fact that she is not scared of him. By the fact that she won. "Oh Mack, this is not your game anymore." Celeste steps back, straightens her robe, and picks up her wine glass again. Calm, unshaken. And just like that, it's over. Mack breathes hard, hands shaking. But Celeste, she doesn't look at him. She just walks to the door, opens it wide, and gestures toward the street. "You can leave now." Mack stands there, frozen. But what choice he has? None. He turns, staggers out the door, stumbles into the night. A broken man. Mack Johnson, the king of the island? He was dethroned. The night air is thick, heavy, the kind that clings to your skin and makes it hard to breathe. The waves crash harder than usual, restless, like they know something's coming. Mack Johnson walked into Celeste's house thinking he had control, thinking he could fix this mess. But now he's walking out with nothing. Now Mack, stumbling down the dimly lit street. His fists clench and unclench. His breath is ragged. His world, destroyed. But here's the thing about a man with nothing to lose. He's dangerous. A shadow lingers near the trees, watching, waiting. Mack doesn't see it. Not yet. But he will. On her porch, Miss Rena's. She is rocking slowly, fanning herself, eyes narrowed as she watches Mack pass by. Miss Rena don't need nobody to tell her trouble's coming. She can smell it. She clicks her tongue, muttering to herself. That man walking like a storm is about to break. But before she can say more, something moves in the shadows. A dark figure, still, unreadable, watching Mack disappear into the night. He's not alone out there. Someone's waiting for him. And they are not here for a friendly chat. Mack, now deeper in the village, passing by closed shops and darkened homes. His mind races, his body tense. Then, a hand shoots out from the darkness, grabbing him by the collar. He's yanked into an alley, slammed hard against the wall. Oh, now it's real. Mack grunts, struggling, but the grip is strong. A voice cuts through the night, low, steady, and full of menace. "You thought you could play with fire and not get burned, huh?" Mack blinks, trying to focus. The man's face is shadowed, but his voice? Familiar. Mack doesn't know who he is dealing with yet, but he's about to find out. The grip tightens. Mack's breath hitches. "You took something that doesn't belong to you, Johnson. And now, you are going to pay for it." Mack growls, trying to push the man off, but another hard slam against the wall knocks the breath out of him. This is not just some petty revenge. This is personal. The man steps closer, his voice low, slicing through the night like a blade. "You think Celeste was the only one who had a score to settle? You think she did all this on her own?" Mack's eyes narrow. He exhales hard. Wait, something doesn't feel right. Oh, now he's listening. The man leans in, his breath hot against Mack's ear. "This is not just about Celeste, Mack. This is about Daniel Russell, Mack stiffens. His whole body goes cold. Oh, now the game's changing. At Lorraine's cafe, that's closed for the night. Inside, the lights are low. And sitting at the corner table, sipping from a crystal glass, is Daniel Russell. The man Mack hates most. His old rival. The one who always had his eye on Lorraine. And everything Mack took for granted. Daniel Russell. A man with power. A man who's been waiting. Watching. And now he's ready to make his move. He swirls the liquor in his glass, smirking to himself. Across from him sits Celeste, legs crossed, eyes glinting in the dim light. She raises her glass in a silent toast. Daniel mirrors her, grinning. Two people, one goal. Destroy Mack Johnson. And they just did. Back in the alley, Mack struggles against the grip on his shirt. This is no simple warning. This is a death sentence. The man shoves him hard. Mack stumbles, catching himself on the wall. He breathes hard, trying to think, trying to run. But where can he go? He's got no money, no home, no allies. The island? It doesn't belong to him anymore. A sudden clang, a trash bin knocked over as Mack makes his move, breaking free and bolting into the night. The man lets him go, watching, amused. He pulls out a phone, presses a button, and speaks into the receiver. Yes, he got the message. He is running now. As Mack, sprinting down the dark road, sweat pouring, fear in his eyes. He has never felt this kind of fear before. Mack Johnson spent his whole life chasing danger. But now danger is chasing him. The night air is thick with heat, but Mack Johnson feels cold. Cold from the sweat rolling down his back. Cold from the fear gripping his chest. Cold from the realization that he's not running toward anything, only away. Mack spent his whole life believing he was untouchable. But now he knows the truth. He is not the hunter anymore. He's the prey. Mack is sprinting down the empty road, past shuttered shops and darkened houses. His breath ragged, his steps heavy. Every shadow feels like a threat. And he's got nowhere to hide. Mack stumbles to a stop outside a small wooden house, the home of Big John, an old fisherman and one of the few men who might still have his back. He bangs on the door, eyes darting over his shoulder, chest rising and falling like a man drowning in air. Oh, now he is looking for help. Now he is remembering the people he left behind. The door creaks open. A pair of tired eyes squint at him. Boy, what kind of trouble you brought to my door this time? Mack swallows hard, his hands trembling as he grips the doorframe. Mack, breathless, desperate. I just need a place to think, man. Just for a little while. Big John eyes him for a long second. Then, with a heavy sigh, he steps aside. Against better judgment, he lets him in. Inside, the house is dimly lit. The scent of salt and old rum lingers in the air. Big John leans back in his chair, watching Mack like a man who's seen too many fools make too many bad decisions. Tell me the truth, Mack. Who are you running from? Mack rubs a hand down his face, exhaling hard. Daniel Russell. Big John stiffens. His expression darkens. He takes a slow sip of his drink, then sets the glass down with a hard thud. Oh, now it's real. Big John leans forward, his voice dropping. Boy, you don't mess with a man like Daniel and just walk away. Mack shakes his head, his body tense. I didn't know, man. I didn't know Celeste was. Big John holds up a hand, cutting him off. It doesn't matter. What's done is done. And now you owe that man. Question is, how will you pay? Before Mack can answer, there's a loud knock at the door. Both men freeze. Oh, this just got worse. Big John moves slow, his old bones creaking as he steps toward the door. He opens it just a crack, and freezes. A man in a dark suit stands outside. He doesn't speak. just hands Big John an envelope. No words, no threats, just the kind of message that don't need an explanation. Big John watches as the man turns and disappears into the night. Then, without looking at Mack, he tosses the envelope onto the table. "You better open that," Big John mutters. Mack's hands shake as he reaches for it. He hesitates, then slides his finger under the seal and pulls out a single Polaroid photo. His breath catches. His stomach drops. His blood turns to ice. Oh, Mack. Oh no. It's a picture of Lorraine, standing in her cafe, unaware, smiling, being watched. Daniel Russell is not coming for Mack first. He's coming for the one thing Mack still cares about. Mack stares at the picture, his breath coming fast, his pulse pounding in his ears. He grips the edges of the paper so tight it crinkles in his hands. Mack thought he lost everything already. But now he's about to learn what true loss looks like. The night is too quiet. The waves don't sound the same. The wind don't move the trees the way it should. Something is wrong. Very wrong. Mack Johnson has lost a lot in the past few days. His money, his home, his power. But now he's about to lose the only thing that ever really mattered. The photo of Lorraine trembles in Mack's shaking hands. Daniel Russell don't just take revenge. He plays with it. He lets a man see it coming. Lets the fear settle in. And Mack's feeling every inch of it now. Big John watches from across the table, his face set like stone. If you want to save her, you got to move now. Mack's jaw tightens. His hands curl into fists. His breath is shaky, but his mind is made up. And just like that, the chase is on. Mack bursts out of Big John's house, feet hitting the dirt road hard. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a plan. All he has is fear. He doesn't know where Daniel is. He do not know how much time he has. But he knows this. He can't be too late. The island streets blur past him. The houses, the voices, the lights flickering in windows. He doesn't see any of it. All he sees is Lorraine's cafe in the distance. And then, a car, black, windows tinted, parked outside the cafe. Oh no, 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 no. Mack's feet move faster. His lungs burn. His pulse roars. But as he gets closer, the car door swings open. A man steps out. Sharp suit, cold stare, a slow smirk curling at the corner of his lips. Daniel Russell. Mack skids to a stop, chest heaving. Daniel doesn't flinch. He doesn't move fast. He just watches, like he has already won. And then, he tilts his head toward the cafe. She doesn't know, does she? Mack didn't answer. His jaw clenches. His fists tighten. She doesn't know who really has the power here. Daniel takes a step forward. His men shift behind him. Silent shadows, standing ready. The air is thick now. The street is empty. The only sound? The distant crash of the ocean. See, Mack, you had your fun. You played your little games. You made your little mistakes. But now you owe me. Mack's voice is low, rough, filled with fire. Stay the hell away from her. Daniel laughs. A slow, amused chuckle. He looks at Mack like he's a little boy begging for something he can't have. Or what? Before Mack can answer, the cafe door swings open. Lorraine steps out, wiping her hands on a towel. Her expression shifts the second she sees Mack standing there, his face tight. She doesn't see Daniel yet, but she feels the tension. Oh, she doesn't know. Mack turns to her, his face pleading. Lorraine, go back inside. She frowns, stepping closer. But then, Daniel speaks. Now, Mack, that's no way to talk to your lovely wife. Lorraine stops, blinks, turns her head, and finally sees Daniel. Sees the men. sees the danger. Now she knows. The air shifts. The fear sinks in. Lorraine doesn't know who Daniel is, but she knows one thing for sure. This man is no friend. Daniel exhales slow, shaking his head like he's disappointed. You know, Mack, I didn't come here to make a scene. I came here to offer you a way out. A deal. Mack doesn't move. Don't speak. Just waits. And then, Daniel smiles. You leave this island. Tonight. Alone. And in return, I'll let Lorraine walk away. No harm. No problems. Just go. Mack's jaw tightens. His hands tremble. The choice slams into him like a wave. Run or fight. What's it going to be, Mack? Your pride. Or her life? Lorraine, barely above a whisper. Mack, what's happening? Mack's chest heaves. He looks at Lorraine, then at Daniel, then back at her. His entire world hangs in the balance, and he's got seconds to decide. One choice, one move, and everything changes. The island night is too still, too quiet. Even the waves seem to hesitate, like they're waiting for something to happen, waiting for one choice to change everything. Mack Johnson is not a good man, but tonight, he gets to decide whether he's a dead man. Mack, standing frozen between two worlds. In front of him, Daniel Russell, smirking, calm, powerful. Behind him, Lorraine, eyes full of fear, confusion, and something else. Something Mack is not ready to face. One step forward, and Mack saves himself. One step back, and he saves her. Daniel lifts a cigarette to his lips, takes a slow drag, exhales smoke into the night air. What is it going to be, Mack? Mack's breath is heavy. His hands are shaking. He looks at Lorraine, her chest rising and falling, her fingers curled tight around the edge of her apron. She doesn't understand. She doesn't know how deep this goes. But she knows one thing: this is not a game. Mack, tell me what's happening. Mack didn't answer. He can't. His throat is tight, his pulse pounding. But Daniel just grins. He loves this, loves the power. He steps forward, slow, deliberate, flicking his cigarette onto the ground. Clock's ticking, Johnson. Mack's fists clench. His mind races. He knows Daniel is not bluffing. He knows men like this don't make empty threats. But leaving means running. Forever. He has never been a coward. But tonight, he might have to be. His eyes flick to Lorraine one last time. The woman who built a life with him. The woman he betrayed. The woman he still loves. And then, he makes his choice. Mack exhales slow, drops his hands, and nods. All right, he says. I'll leave. Lorraine's eyes widen. Daniel's grin grows. The power is his now. The game is over. Or at least, that's what Mack wants him to think. Mack moves slow. Too slow. He takes a step forward like he's surrendering. But his mind? His mind is working. Calculating. Counting the odds. Daniel gestures toward his men, satisfied. Smart man. And then, it happens. Fast. Too fast. Mack lunges. Not forward. Not toward Daniel. Toward Lorraine. He grabs her arm, hard, and yanks her behind him. And in the same breath, he swings. A fist. A punch. A hit that lands. Crack. A body stumbles backward. But it is not Daniel. It's one of his men. Caught off guard. Thrown off balance. Oh, this just flipped. Lorraine gasps, stumbling back. Mack didn't stop. He grabs a chair. Swings. Shatters it against another man. Daniel is not smiling anymore. His hand moves to his waist. A gun. Oh no, no, no. This is not a street fight. This is about to be something else. Lorraine screams. A loud, sharp crack pierces the air. A gunshot. The world slows. Mack's body jerks to the side. His eyes widen. His breath catches. Did he get hit? Did he? But then, another movement. Fast. Desperate. Lorraine. She moved. She grabbed a bottle from the cafe table, hurled it. It slams into Daniel's arm. The gun tilts. The shot misses. She just saved him. Mack didn't waste any time. He grabs Lorraine's hand, yanks her toward the alley. They run. Footsteps pound behind them. Shouting. Chaos. He got one shot at getting her out of here. One. Mack and Lorraine dart down the alley. Past shops. Past empty streets. His hand clutching hers. His pulse racing. The sound of cars. Engines. Daniel's men are moving. Searching. But Mack knows this island. Knows every hidden road. Every back path. And he takes one. Fast. Sharp turn. Out of sight. They keep running. Until finally. Silence. No footsteps. No voices. Just the sound of their ragged breathing. They made it. For now. Lorraine pulls away from him, shaking. Her eyes blazing. But before she can speak, before she can demand answers, Mack steps closer. His breath heavy. His face unreadable. And then, he says the words he should have said a long time ago. I'm sorry, Lorraine. She stares at him, searching, a storm raging in her chest. And then... The island is quiet now. Too quiet. The waves roll in slow, dragging against the sand like they're tired. Like they've seen too much. The night wasn't just dark. It was heavy. Mack Johnson is running. Again. But this time, he's not running alone. Mack and Lorraine, hidden in the shadows of an old boat shed near the docks. Their breathing is ragged. Their bodies tense. They had not spoken a word yet. But everything that needs saying is hanging between them. Heavy. Unspoken. Lorraine has never been afraid of much. But tonight, she was staring at a man she didn't recognize anymore. A man she once loved. A man who almost got her killed. Mack leans against the wooden wall, head tilted back, chest rising and falling. He didn't look at her. Maybe he can't. Maybe he knows. This is the end. And then, finally, she speaks. Lorraine's voice is soft. Too soft. The kind of quiet that comes before a hurricane. Tell me the truth, Mack. Tell me everything. Mack exhales. A long, heavy breath. He rubs his face, tired, broken. When he finally looks at her, his eyes has no more lies left in them. I messed up, Lorraine. She laughs. A short, bitter sound. Because that didn't begin to cover it. Messed up? Mack, you almost got me killed. You let some snake of a man hunt me down like I was some debt you couldn't pay. Mack flinches. He has no defense. No excuses. All he has is the truth. And the truth. It's ugly. Celeste. She played me. I thought I had her wrapped around my finger, but all this time, she was setting me up. Her and Daniel. Lorraine's jaw tightens. The name Daniel makes her stomach turn. She didn't know much about Daniel Russell. But what she did know, she knows men like that don't stop until they get what they want. Lorraine steps closer. Eyes sharp. Jaw tight. She's not done yet. So what now, Mack? You ran. You're leaving me here to clean up your mess. Mack clenches his fists. Because that's the part that hurts. The part that he hates. I never meant for you to get hurt, Lorraine. She shakes her head, laughing again. But this one has pain in it. Mack, you were hurting me for years. I just didn't want to see it. And that's it. That's the truth. Right there. Mack turns away, because looking at her hurts more than he thought it would. Lorraine. She is staring at him like she has already made up her mind. And when she speaks again, her voice is not soft. It's final. I want you gone, Mack. His body tenses. His breath catches. She steps forward, slow, controlled. You walk out of here and don't come back. Do you hear me? Mack turns to her, eyes searching, begging. But Lorraine has already gone. Maybe she left a long time ago. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. She just waits for him to go. And this time, Mack knows better than to fight it. He doesn't say goodbye. He didn't try to fix what is already shattered. He just nods one last time, and then he walks away. Lorraine didn't watch him go. She just stands there, still, quiet, a woman who finally took her life back. Mack is walking down the empty docks. His boat waits for him. One last ride, one last way out. Mack Johnson came into this world with nothing. And now he is leaving without any damn thing. He steps onto the boat, unties the ropes. His hands steady now. No more shaking, no more running. Just the sea, open, waiting. The engine roars to life. The boat drifts into the dark, away from the island, away from his past, away from her. And just like that, Mack Johnson disappears. Lorraine, standing on the shore, watching the waves, but not looking for him. Not anymore.